West Midlands alone, around 66,000 children who live below the poverty line aren't eligible for free school meals. A significant barrier is the affordability of rolling this out for all children. The Mandala Consortium has been researching and modelling potential policy scenarios that could be feasible and demonstrating the economic return using a cost-benefit analysis. I'm here at the university to find out how they've been going about this work. Emma, why was it important to conduct a cost-benefit analysis of free school meals expansion?
What this project has shown is that there is a really strong economic argument for expanding school meals to all children across the country. This is important because we have very substantial economic evidence that tells us how important it is to provide good nutrition in the early years and throughout the school years. And what that means is that every child in school then enables them to achieve their educational potential, which then means that they have a far greater chance of going on to be productive adults. So by providing a strong economic argument, what that means is that not only does this project show that it is important to meet children's nutritional needs and to tackle food insecurity, but actually it places this policy as a policy that could form a really important part of an inclusive economic growth strategy for the country.
Could you talk us through some of the key findings of the modelling work?
So what we did within our model is that we took explicit account of budget constraints, and that's really important because one of the key barriers to expanding school meals has been around affordability. So within our model, what we did was that we looked at two different scenarios. So where there were really important constraints on budget, and then we looked at different scenarios within that tight budget constraint and worked out which one provided the highest return. And then we took a scenario analysis where there was perhaps not such big constraints on the budget, and we showed which policy under those circumstances would give the highest return.
Priscilla, what methods were used to develop the models and collect evidence for this work?
A cost-benefit analysis methodology and tool was used for this work, and it was developed by the Greater Manchester Combined Authority, which is now being included as a supplementary guidance to the HM Treasury Green Book. So this method allows us to estimate the economic value of each of the new policies by comparing the incremental cost and benefit. And this is the difference in the cost and benefits between each of the policy options and the current policy from a societal perspective, allowing us to estimate the return on investment. This was done via a very structured process that began with scoping review of the literature, and this allowed us to identify alternative policy options for expanding the free school meal provision. And then we had consultation with stakeholders to help narrow down this policy option and also identify the costs and benefits.
So you mentioned working with stakeholders. What stakeholders were you engaging with?
We consulted with stakeholders across 5 key sectors, which includes the regional and local governments, primary schools, policy and academic sector.
Matthew, you've done some transformative work as a head chef in schools in Birmingham, and you've been acting as an advisor on this piece of work. Could you tell us, from your experience, what impact does access to free school meals have on students in terms of behaviour, learning outcomes, etc.?
To have a nutritious meal at lunchtime is imperative to learning. The children are more aware in lessons after lunchtime. They're more able to learn, and behaviour is dramatically improved. We see a bit of a drop-off after year 3 where universal free school meals are no longer offered to all children. A lot of teachers have reported to me, and also sports teachers as well, attention tends to wane in the afternoon because they're not getting a nutritious meal at lunchtime. We very much see the dining room as an extension of the classroom, an extension of the school day, where children can learn about nutrition and what is good for them, and to enable them to make positive food choices and live with them for the rest of their lives. Obviously we take great stay in getting good exam results, but if you can't feed yourself in later life, then those results are nullified.
And how are you collaborating with the Food Foundation on this particular project?
So the Food Foundation have been a really important partner of ours because as an academic team, we often write in academic language, and some of our results are expressed in using quite technical terms. And so what the Food Foundation have been doing is working very closely with us throughout the whole project, almost like allowing us and working with us to sense check our model and our model results. They've been supporting us with sourcing information for our parameters as well within the model, so really ensuring that the model uses the best, most up-to-date evidence for all the model parameters. And crucially, towards the end, they've been working with us to translate our research findings into language that was going to have traction with policymakers.
What would you say to people who see free school meals as just a cost?
It's a massive investment in our young people. It's a massive investment in our combined futures. It doesn't just about go into a black hole. It enables children to be productive members of society. There's many health benefits that have been already well documented, which means it'll be less money on the NHS in later life. Better educational outcomes mean more productive citizens, which make a stronger, better society.
As the Food Foundation, we have long been advocating for the expansion of free school meals. As in England, we have 900,000 children living below the poverty line who don't currently qualify. That's because the earning threshold for free school meal entitlement is just £7,400 a year, and it hasn't changed since 2018. It is in this context that actually Mandala's research is super timely, because we needed that fresh evidence to inform national policy, and evidence that could show both the economic and social benefit case for expanding eligibility. At the Food Foundation, our role is to connect those rigorous research with real-world advocacy, really ensuring that we can amplify the voices of families, schools, and campaigners with supporting evidence. And we are very delighted that government has now committed to take it. Expanding free school meals to all children on universal credit has been announced recently and will be implemented from 2026. We see it as the best first step to achieve that goal, and the Mandala detailed cost-benefit analysis provides the evidence that supports it. This policy means that around 500,000 children will be guaranteed a nutritious, hot school meal, giving them a real opportunity to thrive, and demonstrates how real change is possible when evidence, lived experience, and advocacy come together.
The moral argument for giving all children the same opportunity to learn is clear. What this work highlights is the strong economic argument for investing in childhood nutrition for the future of society.